In today's video, we'll be looking at demand. Ever wondered why the price of your favorite sneaker goes up when everyone wants them? Well, that's demand in action. Let's break it down. What is demand? Demand is the quantity of a good or service that consumers are willing and able to purchase at various prices during a given time. Well, let's think about it. There is a difference between desire and the effective demand. You must have the willingness and ability to pay for the good or service. Well, let's look at it in this way. Demand is essentially a measure of how much people want something and can afford to buy it. Demand is a key driver of the economy, influencing production, pricing, and the overall market behavior. Let's look at the law of demand. The law of demand states that as prices decrease, quantity demanded increases, and as the prices increase, the quantity demanded decreases. This shows us that price and quantity demanded have an inverse relationship. This is the demand curve. Well, let's think about it. Remember that favorite sneaker that you've always wanted? So if the price of that sneaker drops from 5,000 Rand to 3,000 Rand, it means that more people are likely to buy it, simply because the lower the price, the higher the demand. So that's how demand works. Now let's look at it with regards to a graph. Well, initially the price of the sneaker was 5,000 Rand. Therefore, the quantity demanded of the sneaker was only 2. But as the price decreased to 3,000 Rand, now the quantity increased to 4. So that's why we say that the higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded. And the lower the price, the higher the quantity demanded. We all could be asking ourselves the same question. Why is the demand curve downward sloping? Well, it's because of these 3 reasons: the substitution effect, the income effect, and the law of diminishing marginal utility. Let's break it down. Firstly, we have the substitution effect. It states that changes in price motivates the consumers to buy relatively cheaper substitute goods. Imagine you love buying Coke. It costs you only 25 rands per can, but suddenly the price increases to 35 rands. Now you look at Pepsi, which still costs you 15 rands. This is where the substitution effect kicks in. Since Pepsi is now relatively cheaper, you start buying Pepsi instead of Coke. You can substitute the more expensive product with a cheaper one that gives you similar satisfaction. The income effect. The income effect shows us that changes in income influences the consumer's purchasing power and demand for certain goods and services. Now think about your income. You didn't get a raise, so that extra 10 Rand per can means your money doesn't go as far anymore. You feel poorer. That's the income effect. Because your income has decreased, you may buy less Coke overall, or none at all. I mean, think about it. You know, when your income rises, you tend to buy more of certain goods. But as your income falls, you tend to go for the alternative good. And thirdly, we look at the law of diminishing marginal utility. Remember, marginal means additional. Utility means satisfaction. So the law of diminishing marginal utility states that as a person consumes more of a good or service, the additional satisfaction they get from each extra unit decreases. Now let's switch it up. You finally buy 3 cans of Coke in one day. The first can, amazing. The second one, still good. The third one, not so exciting. So that's how the law of diminishing marginal utility works. The more you consume of something, the less satisfaction you get from each additional unit. So even if Coke stayed at 25 Rand, you probably wouldn't keep drinking more and more because the joy of drinking it decreases. So imagine this. You attend a music concert for your favorite music artist, and guess what? He's wearing those favorite sneakers that you've always wanted. So now everyone wants them, even if the price stays the same. That's a change in demand. The demand curve shifts to the right because most people want them and it's the new sneakers in town. So now let's look at the inverse. Report now says the sneakers are terrible for your feet. So people would stop wanting them, and even though the price hasn't changed, there will be a decrease in the demand for these shoes. That means that the decrease moves the demand curve and shifts it to the left. Now let's look at the determinants of demand. These are the non-price factors that cause the demand curve to shift. So we have income, taste and preferences, prices of related goods, be it your substitutes and complements, expectations, and number of buyers. Now, here's where many students get tripped up. What's the difference between a change in quantity demanded and a change in demand? They sound similar, right? But in economics, they are very different. And mixing them up can cost you your marks in an exam or make your graphs look totally off. Well, a change in quantity demanded is shown by a movement along the demand curve due to a price change. And secondly, a change in demand is shown by a shift of the entire demand curve due to the non-price factors, which are income, taste and preferences, price of related goods, expectations, and number of buyers. See you on the next video where we talk about supply.